Hey there, how you doing? Charlie Winters here with horse racing tips for Sunday the 29th of September. Well, a quick recap on Saturday's performance. Well, it was a losing day, especially if you staked exactly the same as me. I staked £59 and I believe only £10 something return. Very disappointing, and I'll be honest, I got the Newmarket and Ripon draw biases wrong. To be honest, in the Cambridgeshire, I thought we'd absolutely smashed it because Mr. King went clear, and at two and a half furlongs, it looked like I think it's far side, were absolutely miles in front. And like the race analyst after the race, he actually said the same. And I thought, jackpot. And then Mr. King, as the racecourse commentator says, went two lengths clear of the far side. Don't get me wrong, it weakened towards the end, and I think it finished about fifth on that side, but if it had been a draw advantage and finished fifth, we might have got a bit for it. But that's just it didn't happen. So yeah, they finished miles in front. It looked more like a red card draw by us by the time they'd done. So the other side were absolutely miles in front. So I think it's quite clear in future if anybody backs anything with a similar kind of large field at Newmarket when it's soft or very soft ground, that the other side, it normally switches to the other side because, like you're well aware, I went back 5 years looking at the draw bias and I just couldn't see a huge angle where low numbers would completely dominate. But they did. So unfortunately, I was wrong there. And the Ripon draw bias, I got the draw bias wrong, but we still had a winner. We had Eye of Dubai, and unfortunately, we couldn't get. Matisse ran okay. It ran nothing more than okay. It didn't really pick up. In the strong fancied Yankee, Earls never picked its legs up. It wasn't too far behind, but it just ran completely one paced all the way around. Aberama Gold ran okay. I think it got a place. Eye of Dubai won at 9-2. Can't remember what the other horse was, but I think it came on place. It was the second runner. And then in the each way doubles and trebles, I think this bet has got legs. You know, when I can't pick a horse outright, because so many times I've given you a horse and I've told you what I think the danger is to it, and the danger has quite often run well or even beaten our horse in the past. So we had Woven 14-1. So I do believe I got the Haydock draw bias correct. In my opinion, when they first came out the stalls in the first race, I believe they all just looked at each other. They didn't have a clue. It's like, make a decision. So they split into two groups in the end, and I thought, oh, here we go. Well, they've gone near side, so they know definitely it's quicker that. But then there were very quickly some of those horses on the near side were beating a retreat, and the horses down the middle I thought were laughing here. But unfortunately, Trilby kept on. So we got the winner 14-1, which was Woven. And unfortunately, in the forecast and tricast, we got first, third, and fourth. And then in another race, I think we got something similar to that. Did we get first, third, and fifth? Something like that. Where yeah, a bit frustrating, but it could quite easily gone the other way. I don't think we're a million miles out, but obviously our account balance tells us different. In the football bet, two games absolutely smashed it. Chelsea, 6 goals I think it was in that match, and I know there was at least 5 in the Birmingham match because it was 3-2 when I last looked. Unfortunately, and it doesn't happen very often, Wrexham were in a 0-0, so that's the most frustrating thing. I wouldn't even have minded there being 2 goals and us being one short, but sitting there watching 0-0, waiting for a red dot to come up, is hardly frustrating. So I'm going to get on to Sunday's selections, but first of all, I'm just going to put my glasses on. So the lucky glasses. Now I won't call them lucky, but yeah, the lucky glasses are on. So what I've gone for is I've gone for 5 horses across 3 races. So it's 30 pence each way doubles and 10 pence each way trebles. So the first race is the 3 at Southwell, paying 4 places instead of 3. So the first selection is Whiskey Glasses at 12-1. I've taken the prices because I think that the prices are okay. The second selection is Good Call at 20-1 in the 3 at Southwell. So Good Call only finished, well, I say finished 3 lengths behind Bounder, which is a second favourite at 11-4. I think it could go much closer on the all weather. I just don't think one horse can be 11-4 and the other one could be 20-1 when they're both heading towards the all weather, which is a completely different surface. I'm just looking. Good Call Now has gone to 16s. And the other selection is Whiskey Glasses at 12-1. This horse, I think, has got a chance. I do think Ollie Sangster is a dangerous trainer in such a poor race. The horse is owned by the Nick Bradley Racing Syndicate. They've got a few chances on the card today. Hopefully, this is one of them. I think it's got first-time headgear. I could be wrong, but I haven't gone for it for that reason. I just think the Ollie Sangster and Nick Bradley, and also Nicola Curry is on board again. It's got a wide draw, but that isn't a problem at Southwell, as long as you make your mind up straight away exactly what you're going to do, rather than just sitting there watching the others and then not being 10 wide on the first bend. So that's the first selection. So the next selections are in the 340 at Southwell, and that's paying 4 places instead of 3. So the selections are Shalla Asker at 13-2 and Embarked at 10-1. So there's a horse in this race with an obvious chance, and the horse is called Air Show. And because I've mentioned it, it'll probably win now because I haven't chose it. But I think Air Show is just a little bit short when it comes to 7 furlong at Southwell. It ran a cracker when I tipped it when it came third. It travelled well all the way around, but it just seemed to be. It stayed on, but it just stayed on at one pace, and I think it's vulnerable. So Shalla Asker is a bit of a risky type. It's 7-1 already, so it's drifted slightly. This horse campaigns regularly over 6 furlongs, but I think it's a great attribute to be able to travel well at Southwell. So we don't know if it's going to stay 7 furlongs. If it does, there's plenty more options open to the trainer, Adrian Keatley. Holly Doyle's on board, and Holly Doyle's ridden quite a few horses for Adrian Keatley. She tends to ride his decent 2-year-olds. I think this horse could have a chance. As I said, it's drawn 4, and I think if it's up with the pace and it's not a crazy pace, it's quite often difficult to pull horses back at Southwell that have travelled well for the vast majority of the race. And the other section is Embarked. This ran, I think it was 3 days ago. This horse is dangerous at the weights because I just think it's got a decent chance, because if they do go off a little bit too fast, it's normally either in touch or mid-division. And I think Scott Dixon, and I think it's Kieran O'Neill on board, who's a decent jockey around Southwell. I just think it's got a decent chance. I'm just glad Mikael Mortenson's not on it. And the final 2 selections. Well, I've been looking at this race, and I find it quite interesting because potentially there's quite a lot of pace on in the race. So I'm just going. So it's the 4:15 race at Southwell, paying 3 places instead of 2. So I've gone for Aztec Sun at 12-1 and Banderas at 14s. In my opinion, there could be quite a lot of pace on in this race. Judgment of Solomon is always prominent. It's Callum Rodriguez, who's on fire at the moment, riding really well. Tends to ride for Ed Bethel, who's also doing very well. That horse is generally prominent. It's a big lump of a horse because I saw it at Pontefract where it was going well. It got to the hill, and I wouldn't say it tired. It's just it's not even a slow horse. It's just a relentless galloper. But I don't think it was quite so good on that undulating course. Well, Southwell's not undulating, but I think this horse, I think it needs to be prominent. But also, Environment Amigo and Clockwatcher also like to be up with the pace. So it could be a decent pace, which may suit Judgment of Solomon. But I think if it also turns into a sprint, that horse could get beat. So what I think is more likely to happen is you could see 3 up there for the pace. They might look at each other, and then one of them might go on. I think Judgment of Solomon wants the pace to be strong. If it is, I also think it could make the other 2 vulnerable. But we haven't got to make the other 2 vulnerable. We need to make at least one of them vulnerable. So then you're looking for a 3rd place horse if you can get one of the fancied 3B. Well, I think Sharp Distinction. I always put a line straight through horses if they are running off a gelding operation or a wind operation. So as I said, I put my line through that. So Aztec Sun, it ran well on its first run for Charlie Hills. It came from Joseph O'Brien's stable, and it ran okay. I just think a good pace could be to its liking, and it's basically exactly the same with Banderas. I think it's becoming well handicapped now, and it has ran some decent races at the beginning of the season, and it also ran some races recently on the all weather where it could give it a chance. It hasn't. I don't think it's tackled Southwell yet, but more recently it's been I believe it's been at Kempton. I think these two horses will like a fast pace, and if it collapses, they could come into this race travelling very nicely. Love Safari is a bit of a danger, but it used to be trained by Charlie Johnson, and David O'Meara and Daniel Tudhope actually had this horse held up towards the back last time. And I don't think, even if it's not trained by Charlie Johnson anymore, I don't think generally you want his horses or ex horses held up towards the rear. Don't get me wrong, I'm probably going to make look very silly with that comment, and Love Safari might win with its head in its chest being held up last all the way. I hope that isn't the case. I don't think it will be, but I do think Aztec Sun and Banderas are completely wrong at these prices. They shouldn't be these prices. I think Love Safari and Sharp Distinction should be the outsiders, and basically they should flip flop. The two I've selected, and Sharp Distinction and Love Safari, should swap prices with what I've gone for because I think the prices are wrong. So it's a free bet day tomorrow. I haven't seen what the racing is, but I'm literally, as I click this video, I'm going to look to see what Monday's racing is. If you want to see Monday's video, it will be out Sunday night. So I do recommend you click subscribe and click notifications all. You will get my video the minute it's released, and sometimes you can get the prices that I've got. Sometimes after half an hour, once the video is uploaded, you'll miss out on the prices, or even you might not even see it for 3-4 hours, or even the next morning when you wake up. So I'd recommend that you click subscribe, then you will get a notification. You might even get a ping on your phone. I don't know, no idea about that bit. I've just made that bit up. But anyway, if you stick with me, if you give me a like or a subscribe or leave me a comment, I really appreciate it. Let's have some new voices in the comments. I really appreciate the voices in the comments, but I'm regularly seeing the same people. If you can give me I'm here, Charlie, or anything that you want, just to say, just to let me know that you're listening. I don't mind if you listen to my selections and you just put a line straight through them, and you know, right, these aren't going to win because Charlie's picked them. I don't even mind if you do that. Do whatever you think. But what I will suggest is, the next time Red Car Racers comes up, I am going to suggest putting part of the bet on the Betfair exchange, trying to look for the bigger prices, knowing we've got the best of the draw, and then arbing it, like putting a 5 on at 20s, then hopefully getting 750 back at 14s or 8s or 10s, whatever we could get. Doesn't always work in that way, but if we know we've got the draw bias, you're well aware that the winner that we had at Red Car when it won at 10-1 was backed into 11-2. We could even put an in running bet on. Anyway, that's talking about Red Car. We're not a Red Car, we're at Southwell. So the very best of luck. Charlie Winters, over and out. Cheers, mate.